Donald Trump was in the VIP box this weekend for the biggest soccer final in the world. The championship match was in New Jersey yesterday, and 47 brought Melania for a day date. The Brits upset the French 3-0. And the president wasn't going to miss out on the celebration, so he showed up to the trophy lift like he owned the team. Trump liked the trophy so much that he took it home with him.
They said, could you hold this trophy for a little while? We put it in the Oval Office. And then I said, when are you going to pick up the trophy? He says, we're never going to pick it up. You can have it forever in the Oval Office. We're making a new one. And they actually made a new one. So that was quite exciting.
It's 24 karat gold. And you know, Trump loves his gold. Plus, it looks better in the Oval anyway. Trump lifted the gold on the anniversary of dodging death. Same day, same hour. Since then, he's been a man on a mission.
When history looks back on this time in our country, when history looks back on you, how would you like to be remembered?
A good person, but a person that saved our country. I really believed our country was going down for the fall. I don't know if it ever could have come back. It was very close to the edge.
The country was teetering because Biden let the whole third world pour in for 4 years. Trump stopped the flooding, and now he's sending them home. And the one thing that brought America to its knees is the one thing Democrats are still fighting for.
Put people over profit. They volunteer to get off it. Put people over profit. They volunteer to get off it. Put people over profit. NYPD KKK. NYPD KKK.
Instead of enjoying the gold, Democrats are fanning the flames and letting their assassination fetish get the best of them. A couple of ICE agents got doxxed in Portland this weekend, and radicals showed up outside their doors and told them to go die.
I have become more radical. I have become more extreme. So my megaphone speeches of saying, please think about the children, have slowly turned into kill yourself.
This is why they wear masks. Wingnuts tried raining on Homan's parade, too. But Tom didn't let him go without a spanking.
Wait 3 or 5 years. Pardon me?
Are you an MS-13 member? It says so.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. Bring it. Bring it. They got morons like this all over the country. This guy wouldn't respect the surface nation. This guy ain't got the balls to be an ICE officer. He hasn't got the balls to be a Border Patrol agent. This guy lives in his mother's basement. Get out of here, you loser.
Homan has to live separately from his wife because of the threats he gets from guys like this.
This is what they brought us yesterday. That is what they met us with yesterday. That is what they shot at us with yesterday. Our incredible volunteers have been nonstop since 5 in the morning every day across this county, patrolling and surveying our spots and jamming up every ICE officer that we find.
Last week, ICE got shot at by Trantifa, and the media treated it like Hunter's laptop and didn't cover it. CNN and MSNBC didn't mention it once. Instead, the media is trying to unmask the victims.
Name a police agency that has a 700% increase in assaults. Name one.
I haven't looked at that data, yeah.
You won't find one. The attacks on ICE is unprecedented, 700% increase. And we're not even talking about the doxing of agents, their spouses, and their children. So they're wearing masks to help give them some sort of protection. But the same people that are complaining about ICE wearing masks, have they ever said anything about BLM protesters wearing masks?
Well, Democrats are protecting the privacy of BLM, Kifa, Antifa, and MS-13, but not ICE. This weekend, Trump actually opened the big, beautiful doors to Alligator Alcatraz and let Congress come in for a quick little look-see. Debbie Diamond Hand Schultz was mad that Jose doesn't have a gold-plated bidet.
They are essentially packed into cages, wall-to-wall humans, 32 detainees per cage. That is the only thing inside those cages are their bunk beds, and there are 3 tiny toilets. They essentially drink, they get their drinking water, and they brush their teeth, where they poop in the same unit.
Everybody brushes their teeth where they poop, Debbie. It's called a bathroom. She's probably talking about these sink toilet units that every prison in America has. The migrant criminals are getting treated the same way as American criminals, and Debbie's angry that they're not being treated better. And how does Debbie think we should be detaining criminal aliens if we don't use cages? And are these even really cages? It's like any fence you see anywhere. She doesn't like the supermax in El Salvador. She doesn't want to keep them in jails and sanctuary cities, and Alligator Alcatraz isn't nice enough. It seems like defense attorney Debbie wants MS-13 to stay in Times Square hotels for eternity. This is just a temporary facility that these guys stay at for a few weeks before they get shipped home.
It is a center to process illegal aliens and then to provide a pad to deport them from the runway that's right there. We did not create the Four Seasons. That's not the intent of this. All the standards are a lot higher than what was even required, but that's, really beside the point.
If they're not serving margaritas at Alligator Alcatraz and every unit doesn't have marble vanities and Toto toilets, Democrats call it a dungeon.
The reality is, when they come for one of us, they're eventually going to come for all of us. And we've seen, the construction of Alcatraz, Alligator Alcatraz. We're seeing people being abducted and sent to dungeons in foreign countries.
Omar and Debbie never lamented the living conditions of government housing projects or living conditions in Appalachia or my dorm room, which was very small. They only complain about Alligator Alcatraz and Guantanamo Bay. They make sure the foreign terrorists are comfortable and they have everything they need. The Democrats complained so much during the war on terror, you remember? We were letting Al-Qaeda play soccer and video games. These are some of the dudes at Alligator Alcatraz that Debbie and Omar don't want to fence around. One MS-13 gangbanger is nicknamed Satan. He's wanted for being in a murder ring. We have Biden migrants with convictions for sexual assault, robbery, arson. One guy in Alligator Alcatraz was arrested for slicing an elderly woman's throat. The media wants these guys sleeping in California Kings with silk sheets.
What do you say to these lawmakers who argue this is not humane treatment of individuals, of humans?
Well, our detention centers at the federal level are held to a higher standard than most local or state centers and even federal prisons. This is a state-run facility at Alligator Alcatraz,
but
they have a
stuffed into a jail
They have
cell?
a contrast. Well, I've been there and I've seen these rooms that they are in. I wouldn't call them jail cells. I would call them a facility where they are held and that are secure facilities.
Democrats have called them cages, though. They say
I wish they would have said that back
and
during the Biden administration and back when Democrats were in the White House and they were piling people on top of each other on cement floors.
Bodies were getting stacked like sardines in Obama-Biden cages. Where was the media then? That looks like a cage to me. And they didn't even have beds. They were sleeping on the floor. And these were migrants who hadn't even committed a crime. Migrants were so desperate where Biden was holding them, they were suicidal and slitting their wrists. Democrats, they don't want them in cages. They just want them out there working in the fields. Over 300 illegals, some of them minors, got iced at a pot farm in California. The farm's been investigated for forced child labor and human trafficking. Democrats went from the party of workers' rights to, let's let foreign kids pick our crops. We need to keep weed prices low. They want to keep families together so they can harvest cannabis together. Karen Bass says she can't even get her car washed in LA.
They are literally driving down the street, jumping out of unmarked cars, tinted windows, no license plates, and literally snatching people from bus stops, going into car washes. It's difficult to get your car washed in LA now because many of the car washes have closed down.
Who's going to wax Karen's Corolla if Jose gets iced? We don't know. We didn't really believe car washes were vacant, so we called 5 LA car washes today, and they all picked up and told us to come right in. Since Karen can't tip Jose for vacuuming her trunk, she's sending him stimmy checks instead.
But we also are going to have a reinstitution of the Angelino card, something that Mayor Garcetti started during COVID, that will actually provide cash assistance to people. Because, you know, you have people who don't want to leave their homes, who are not going to work, and they are in need of cash. It's a couple $100s, I don't know the exact amount, and this should be available in about a week.
Bass wants to mail reparations to migrants. LA's still in debt from the riots and losing all that homeless money, billions. And whole neighborhoods are still burnt down. Are the illegals getting checks faster than Americans who've lost their homes? Seems like it. It's been 6 months, and they haven't even started rebuilding Malibu. The no-name California senator who lunged at Nome says he can't leave his house either, because if he goes to Home Depot, Homan's sending him to Alcatraz.
What if I was outside of Home Depot, because I like to do some work around the house, not dressed in a suit? Would I be a target of ICE enforcement under Tom Homan? Probably. And it's just wrong. It's not just due process rights that have become the concern, but racial profiling.
Is Karen going to send senators stimmy checks if they're afraid to leave their homes too? Mark Cuban says Democrats could at least help Homan a little.
They should be putting Tom Homan on blast, saying, okay, the FBI has their top 10 most wanted list, right? List the top 1,000, criminals that are here that need to be deported. We'll all help you. But the Democrats would never say something to the effect, we'll help you. They only have to do something that's the antithesis of what Trump says and does. You've never heard a Democrat say in the past 7 months, yeah, okay, I don't like it, but this is a step in the right direction.
Democrats still haven't figured it out. Most of the country wants Alligator Alcatraz and mass deportations. The Times, ABC, CBS, all their polls say a majority of Americans back it. But if Democrats are going to keep trying to move them into five-star resorts, this country is going to put them in the dungeon, an electoral dungeon. We might let them play soccer, but they will not be taking home the gold. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.